So, Mr. Gary has been a big help. Where is he? There
He's
he
over
is.
there.
Yeah, thank you very much. And today, Mr. Leno is here, so I will give you the spot.
Thank you. Good afternoon. This is very exciting to be here at the Ethiopian Community Center. And what we're going to be talking about today is some very important information that can help your groups, your communities, to do some things. They've given me some talking points that I have to talk about. One is, you know, we started, so I work in the Office of Immigrant and Refugee Affairs, and Abdullahi works there now, and so does Tal. And what we do is we want to represent the immigrants and refugees of the city, and we also want the immigrants and refugees in the ethnic communities to know what is going on within the city and how they can take advantage of the programs. So that's why we're here today, so that you can learn about different programs that grant monies, grant opportunities for people and how you can participate. So we call these community teas. So we bring teas and a few cookies, some fruit, so that you can, because sometimes it's hard to get to downtown Seattle, so we think we bring downtown Seattle to the community. Mm-hmm. So, and this, you know, if you want more meetings, we can go and talk about them. So we also have a Refugee and Immigrant Commission that's made up of 15 members, and they're going to be meeting this Sunday in the afternoon. And we have elected persons, and they meet once a month, the first Tuesday of every month, and you're welcome to go to those meetings and see the work that they're doing. But we have representatives from all of the city. Our program was started by the council, and then the mayor adopted it, and then he appointed us to work with him in the office. One of the great programs that we've done in the past year is to work with the police department in the city. Abdullahi's done a lot of work on this, which has been safe communities, not secure communities, but safe communities, where we sit down with different communities and we talk about the relationship between the community and the police. And we can still have more of those conversations. So if you wanted to have more of those conversations, we could do them here in the center, or we could go to your places of worship and have meetings so that you can talk and learn about how we make Seattle safer, who do you call when you have an issue, how do you get things taken care of. And we've had a couple of cases already in the community where, because we've had those relationships with police, we were able to make some changes. I wanted to remind you that it's very important for us, this little piece of paper, which is sort of the registration. So if you can fill those out, and before you leave them on this table up here. That way we know everybody that came. Otherwise, we don't have any proof that we were here, right? And so what they're going to do is they're going to stream live our conversations, so that we're other people will have access to see what we're talking about. One of the real issues is that for the city to be strong, and the mayor really wants you to understand, and he's been here at the Ethiopian Center before, he wants you to know how important every community is, and for you to raise questions. If there's something you don't understand about the city, or you have questions, you come to us and we'll answer them. One of the members of our commission who's been there like for 500 years is Michael Neguse. So you want to raise your hand?
500 years, that's right.
He was a young man when I first met him, but he's been on the commission a long time. So. But we value his service, and the other 14 members. So now we want to begin, and the way we're going to do this is each of the programs are going to do 10 minutes. Then we're going to have question and answers. And then if we can finish early, then you can come and talk to them individually and ask them more questions about their programs. So the first one that we're going to start with is Department of Neighborhoods. And Gary Owens, you have to go on first, big boy. And he's been here a number of times at the center. Patricia was going to come, but he says he's just as wonderful as Patricia. So from the Department of
Neighborhoods, on TV.
Yeah. So you'll
all right.
You have to smile and look pretty, Gary.
Thank you.
Thank you, Leno, and thank you for the many friends and allies I see in this room. Some of you are new friends, and some of you I've been known for a long time, so it's always good to see you. And I also thank Leno and the other members of the panel here, my friends, Vicki and Irene, for sharing this very important occasion on this very beautiful day. This is an important meeting for the Department of Neighborhoods because this year we are celebrating our 25th anniversary. 25 years ago in 1988, the matching fund started with the intent to make sure that people in the community had resources available to them to make their community better, but also make Seattle a better place to live and to work and to play. And so over that period of time, many different things have happened. In that 25-year period, we've had many different people come from different places around the world to live in Seattle, to work in Seattle. And that has changed the dynamics of Seattle in a really profound way. And I think one of the things that we're so proud of is that we've been able to figure out in some pretty clear ways on how to make the matching fund work for as many people as we can. The matching fund is based on a simple concept, and that is that we provide public dollars so that people can provide some resources that will provide resources in their community that will empower their community to make some of their aspirations come true. And there's some core values, and I want to make sure, and I have a copy here for everyone, but I just want to share with you what we think some of them are. The probably 6 most important core values of the matching fund since the beginning, since 1988, has been this whole concept of self-help, of people taking some initiative on their own to do what they need to do. Not doing what the city wants you to do, doing what you see you need to do to make your community a better place. The other one is the whole concept of community building, being inclusive, making sure you do outreach to other people, making sure it's not just for you, but it is truly for the community. That's an important value of the matching fund. The whole notion of leadership development. We know that pretty much everybody I know in this room I would consider to be a leader, but we know as leaders we have to be able to reinvent ourselves in a way, or we have to make sure that other people are leaders after we're gone, or after we step down, or after we choose to do something else, after we learn how to play golf or whatever. And we have to know that there's a certain concept where leaders follow and followers lead. That's a very important concept in terms of leadership development. The whole notion of volunteerism. Volunteerism is really embedded in the matching fund about how do people give back? What do they do? Some people who give back obviously don't need to be paid. They just want to commit some of their resources personally to make sure that the community is a better place. The idea that, and probably one of the most important things for the matching fund is we strongly believe in community benefit. The projects that we support have a clear community benefit. It's not for private benefit, it's for the community. It's to make sure it's a kind of a saying here in this country where a rising tide lifts all ships. When you help people, everybody benefits. So it's like a win-win. And the last one is important too. We talk about public access. We think that the projects that we support have no fences or barriers. People have access. They need to go, whether it's a show, whether it's a park, whether it's a building, whatever it is, that people have access when they use the matching fund. We think those things are important. I think some of the things that we've learned over the past 25 years is that we need to learn more from you all about what are culturally appropriate ways to reach out to you so that we reach out to you in a respectful way. It's obvious in many cases that we don't speak your language. It's obvious in many ways that we don't necessarily understand all the things that compose your very intricate and beautiful cultures. But it's our job to figure out how can we spend enough time to you so that we understand the role of culture and history and politics and socialization and even religion on your terms so that we can be helpful to you on how you might access our resources to make your community and the city a better place. That's very important. But that process doesn't happen overnight. And it's really not just about money. Really, the matching fund is really about relationships. And that's why it's so important to me to see how many people I know in this room. I know many of you, and how many people I know on this panel is important too. I think I would just say that when I look at the kinds of things that people have done, the things that we're doing here now. We have a matching fund project here now that is helping restore parts of the building, the bathrooms, the roof, eventually, et cetera. There's other places where we put in computer labs. There's other places that we've tried to help them restore the building so it would be more accessible to the public. We've redone the kitchen, or we've laid down a new floor, or whatever. When I say we, I mean us together. Our resources, your energy, your commitment. Although we've had projects, I think one of the first projects I remember doing here, and I've been here for 24 years, is that we worked with the Horn of Africa. The Horn of Africa at that time was very concerned that their children who went to Seattle Public Schools didn't understand how to negotiate the process. Seattle Public Schools is very large, one of the largest institutions in the city, and it's very difficult coming from a place where there were no public schools, there were private schools. And so we had resources, you could go to school, but you couldn't go to school just because you lived in the neighborhood. It doesn't work like that. So to figure out how that worked took a lot of consideration. So they created a project in which they would create small groups of people that would work with parents and kids on how to understand social services, how that worked, how to understand the education system, how that worked, and how to understand how the police worked. Because the police also were a different institution than that worked it in a different way than where people came from. That project was very successful for us and for them in terms of having people having the capacity and the will to make sure that their people understood how these very important, the schools, human services, and the police worked in their community, and that these are things that they could transfer to their children.
Kerry, you have about 4 more minutes.
Okay, and so I think part of the thing that we think is important is that since we don't tell people what kind of projects they want to do, it's important that when you dig deep into what your community is all about, that you understand that there are many opportunities. Some have already taken place that are, I would say, as guides or whatever. Part of the history of working with refugee and immigrant communities in this area is that people have laid down a serious a serious routine of doing some very innovative projects. Some people have worked around technology. Some people have worked around sports. Some people have worked around very unique. I was telling Irene on the way down here, we would had some of the women do some stuff, and I think one of the most important projects I saw that the women did is there was a notion that women that came from landlocked countries didn't know how to swim or had no notion of water safety. So the Somali women designed a project that took place at Rainier Beach and West Seattle pools, in which they taught women in a culturally sensitive way how to swim and how to feel safe around water. Well, that project became so important that the people who helped it get started, some doctors from Harborview Hospital, some Parks Department staff, myself, and the Somali women, that project became so significant that it went national. It went to the American Public Health Association, and they used that project as a better understanding of how you reach across the aisle to make sure people are empowered to do what they need to do. So that's what they call a case study. These women, very humble, wanted to know how to swim in a city 80% surrounded by water, and they found the opportunity to do that with the matching fund's help. But really, it didn't start with the matching fund, it started with them. We just provided the resources, but it wasn't our idea, it was their idea. So I think I would end on this.
Kerry, maybe if you could just tell the 3 categories you have.
Well, the categories of the matching fund are fairly simple, and they're on our website. We have a small Sparks fund in which you can get up to $1,000, and there's a rolling deadline, so there's no time frame for that. We have the small and simple, in which now you can get up to $25,000, and we have 2 deadlines. One we just had earlier in March, and then we have another one on October the 7th. And then we have a large projects fund in which you can get up to $100,000, and we had a deadline for that that's already passed too, in which the community makes the determination about who they recommend who gets the money. We have been impacted a lot by politics and whatnot, so in some cases we don't have as many opportunities for people to apply as we used to have, and that's caused by we don't have as many people on our staff as we used to have. Nevertheless, the program still survives. We've probably funded over 5,000 projects. We've expended maybe over $50 million. The program has been duplicated or replicated in over 200 or 300 cities across America. We've been to Africa with the program. We've been to Europe with the Africa. We've been to Australia with the program. We've been to Cuba with the program. We went all around the world with the program. The concept of the idea is if you empower people with resources, public resources, they can do what they need to do, and that's where the initiative comes from. I'll be around here for the rest of the day, rest of this meeting to answer any of your questions, and I thank you for your attention.
Thanks, Gary. Well, you have at least one fan.
Yeah, I know. I paid him though. So
just remember that there's cookies, tea, and some food in the back. Now, one of the departments that's very important and a lot of people don't know as much about, and that we need to get people access to, is our Department of Information Technology. And we're great to have Vicki Yuki with us today. She handed out a lot of her materials. So Vicki, you're on.
Great. Thank you, Leno. So my name is Vicki Yuki, and I've met several of you at our Technology Matching Fund workshops and such, but I'm going to give you a little bit of a background on what it is that we do in community technology programs. So there's 4 of us, and perhaps you've met them before: David Keys, Delia Burke, and then Derek Hall, and myself. So the 4 of us work in community technology programs because we're very, very committed to digital literacy. We're wanting to, all of Seattle and Seattle residents, and I personally would love everybody in the world to be able to be digitally literate. And there are three prongs to that. There's access, content, and literacy. Those are the 3 areas that we focus on, all our programs on. So access means that people have access to technology. So that means the physical access to this technology. So that means you have access to high-speed internet, computers, smartphones, things that you need in order to be successful. The second part, content, is the stuff that you create with those devices, as well as what you want to do in terms of furthering your goals as you use those things. And then finally, literacy, and that is where we spend a lot of our time as well, where we're talking about learning to use those tools. So that means applications, programs, as well as, from very basic to very high functioning. So I passed out a little packet of information, and if you didn't get them, I'm sorry I missed you. They're on the back table. But they detail all of our programs. So we do have one grant program that we offer, and unfortunately the deadline for that is passed. It was March 4th. And that is the Technology Matching Fund, and which is very similar to what Gary was talking about in terms of we provide resources and you match that with your time, your volunteerism, your funds, and then we work on a joint project together. So that application's closed, but we are in the process of reviewing a lot of applications that came in, and eventually we award about 20 to 25 applications.
And when does the process begin again?
When is
the process begin again for applying?
Oh, so we'll probably release it again next, probably February. Usually it comes around about February. January, February, we release it.
And what's the value amount? How much?
You can receive up to $20,000, up to $20,000, and it's a one-to-one match. And so we fund projects ranging from $5,000 up to the full amount. And so, you don't have to apply for the whole thing if you feel like your project, would better be suited to something that would be more focused. The other area that so we've awarded over $2,790,000 since 1998 in about 223 projects across Seattle. So that's something that we're very pleased about, and several of you have been our recipients, and that's how I know you. We also do other resources that we offer. I know my time is limited, that's why I've handed this out. So everything is on here that you can access and find out about. And then I also
You have
put.
7 minutes, don't worry.
Oh, okay. Oh my gosh. Okay. You were looking at your watch.
Well,
and
that's
you're-
because
so I'm like, okay.
you know, because Gary took some of your time.
Oh, okay. Thanks,
knew you were
Gary.
gonna say
Thank you. So,
I'm teasing.
one of the things that we also offer is our free cable broadband. We have modems, a cable modem program that we connect with about 250 nonprofit organizations in Seattle who receive our cable modem via Comcast or Wave Broadband. And that's free, which frees up some of your resources to be able to use to better serve your community. And so if you have an organization that does not receive one of our cable modems, then you should apply for that. And then if everything kind of gels together and we have enough cable modems out there available, then we can really work together. And then you can offer that then as Wi-Fi or for your computer literacy programs, things that you're doing within your organizations. Another thing that we're really committed to is, like I mentioned earlier, is access. And so we have 7 locations across Seattle where we have computer stations set up, so you can go in and you can access them. So they're located in all of our neighborhood service centers. There's less now than there used to be, and to make up for that, we've actually also opened it up with 2 other nonprofit organizations who also have opened up their organizations to be able to house one of our computers. But people can go in there and pay their bills online. You can apply for different programs that way. We wanted it to be a place where you could go and get information without having to have too much of a strong time limit. We also support and work with the Seattle Public Libraries, and so they offer their computers also. But if you happen to use up that time, then maybe you can come to one of our other public access stations if you need to use the computer. We also partner with the community centers. So several of them have computer labs in them that offer classes as well as access open lab time, so you can go in. We used to have more, but we now have 6 that we work with that actually have a computer lab and actually have dedicated space for that. But more and more of the community centers are moving towards Wi-Fi access. So if you have free Wi-Fi access, so if you have a netbook or a laptop or a smartphone device, a tablet, something that you can use to get onto the internet, you can go to a community center and log into their system and be able to access the internet that way and other programs. And then, of course, there's all the community partners that we work with who've started and opened computer labs and such, and many of them offer various different classes and programs and other things, open lab time, and also one-on-one assistance in very specific languages. So there's just too many to name, and this is one of them. We're sitting in one of them. So this is a great partnership that we've had in the past as well. There's a couple other materials in here that I just would, if you have time to go through them, and if you have any questions about any of our programs, I'd be happy to, I'll be here as well until the very end, and you can come and talk to me, and I'd be happy to meet you and share any other resources that we might have that could be mutually beneficial for each of us. So thank you very much for your time, and I appreciate it.
We're going to go until about 3 o'clock, a little after 3, with question and answers, and that after Irene speaks, and then we're going to break up so people can come and talk to these individuals individually and ask further questions. So, one of the great areas, and another one of our secrets, because all of our cultures are built around, and our religions are built around arts and culture, and we have a great program in the city of Seattle and some great opportunities for us to participate. So, Irene, I was hoping you could share with us
Sure.
your department.
Yes, thank you, Leno. It's nice to be here. Thank you for inviting us. My name is Irene Gomez, and I work with the Office of Arts and Cultural Affairs. We have a staff of 23 people, and we share the 17th floor with the Department of Neighborhoods, so we're on the same floor of the Seattle Municipal Tower. Our office primarily focuses on supporting arts and culture, and we do that three priorities. We have three basic priorities. The first one is cultural investments, or those are our funding programs and opportunities, and I will talk a little bit more about that in just a few minutes, because that's, I think, the most important area that you might be interested in. The second one is what we call creative placemaking, and that's bringing people together through the arts in different parts of the city, in different areas. And then the last one is youth development, and that really is arts education, really that builds confidence, leadership, and learning for teens, whether it's in school or out of school. And that's one of the third and very important priorities from our office. So I wanted to talk specifically and focus on the cultural investments, and these are the funding programs that we have in our office. I'm going to refer to 5 funding programs that we have that might be of interest to either groups in your community, to individuals, or to youth programs, if you have interest in youth programs. We have Civic Partners, which actually funds all sizes of organizations. The organizational funding happens every 2 years. So if you are an organization, you have to have been in existence for 3 years. You have to have a certain amount of budget. You have to be a nonprofit. There's eligibility for each one of the programs. But basically you apply, and if you get accepted, you get funding for 2 years. Okay, and once you're accepted into the program, you're in the program forever until unless your program shuts down, which hopefully it won't. But essentially, once you're accepted, you're in. And those programs are funded, really it depends on the size of your budget and your organization. That's how they determine how much funding you get. The second program is called City Artists, and this program supports individual artists. So these are artists who are writers, musicians, dancers, filmmakers, poets. They could be in any art form, and it can be cultural, traditional art forms as well. And they, as individual artists, apply to our office for funding, and they can produce a new book, a new film, a new work, a dance work, a new composition in music, and so they apply. And it's a competitive process for all our programs, but this particular program is for individual artists. The third one is youth arts, and these programs are to engage middle and high school kids in the art making process, and it's in any art form. So it can be in, again, dance, literary, it can be in filmmaking, it can be in any art form, and it can also be to reinforce a cultural art form. So it can be a cultural dance form, a cultural storytelling form. If you have artists in your community that want to work with kids, this is the program where you can apply for funds and get a program going during either after school or in the summer or on the weekends or in the evenings, working with middle and high school kids. The next program is called Neighborhood and Community Arts Festivals, and these are small groups. They're not necessarily big organizations. They're small groups. Sometimes they're volunteer groups, and they hold annual cultural festivals in the neighborhoods all over Seattle. So those groups apply again, and it's competitive, and you can get money basically to run a festival. So you can pay the artists, you can pay if you need equipment, any kind of equipment for the festival, it'll pay for any of those kinds of expenses. The last program is called Smart Ventures. It is a very popular program because it is really targeting applicants who do not fit into any of the other programs, and they're generally artists or groups or organizations that have never applied to our office. It's a very simple and short application, and it's also for what we call emerging artists. So these are artists who are just starting out, and it gives them some support and some validation, and it provides the applicant with a lot of support, a lot of technical assistance. So we provide a lot of assistance to the applicant so that they understand what the process is, and it introduces all of these application processes to an individual who doesn't know anything about writing an application. So we provide a lot of support for that program. All of these programs have deadlines, except for the organizational funding, which is every 2 years, and Smart Ventures, which actually has a deadline every month. So if you have a small project, you've never applied to our office, that deadline, we have a deadline every month. So you can contact our office. It's a smaller amount of money. It's for $1,000. But it's for a small project, and we're again happy to help you, give you a lot of support for that program. The individual artist program is once a year. The youth arts program is once a year, and the neighborhood and community arts festival is once a year. All the deadlines are listed on our website, and if you sign up for our website, for our electronic news, you get information in advance when these deadlines are coming up. You'll get information about workshops that our staff provides to help you to fill out the applications. We do these way in advance of the deadline. And also you learn about other opportunities that our office might be offering that relates to arts and culture. Again, all of our applications, for the most part, are online. So if, again, it's great that we have the technology matching fund, and because all of our applications are digital, they're online, and so you do have to fill them out on a computer. And again, we give a lot of opportunity to assist you in doing that. And our applications are what are called project-based applications. That means the applications you fill out, you have defined a project, whether it's going to be a festival, whether it's going to be classes for high school kids to do a summer program, and then they're gonna be learning how to make films, and then at the end of the summer they're gonna show all their films, or it's gonna be a year-long project. You design the project. We'll help you fill out the application. You request a certain amount, and then all the applications are reviewed by what we call peer review panels. And these are all, for instance, for individual artists, we find a group of 5 working artists in Seattle, and they are the ones who actually review the applications. It's not the staff, it's artists who review the applications. For youth arts programs, all the teaching artists who work with kids, they are the ones who review the applications, not staff. So it's all people who are very familiar with these programs who actually are determining the scores for all the applications. Okay, great. I'm almost to the end, so that's perfect. Again, I encourage you to go to our website. I do have it on this brochure. This brochure has very short descriptions of all the programs that I just described, and so you can get more information. You also have the name of the staff person for each program that you can contact, our phone number and our email address. So if you're interested in that. Also, I brought, this is in the back table, and this is an annual report that comes out from our office, and it will actually give you an example of some of the projects that we fund through all of the programs. and it also gives the names of the staff and also some names of some of the reviewers, the people who actually assess the applications. Okay, and thank you very much for having me here, and I'm happy to answer more questions.
First question.
Program for the city. Have you funded minority groups like from African communities?
Yes, we have. Yes, we have, and it's well through the festival, the neighborhood and community festivals. We funded them, and we also have funded them through youth arts. So artists will come and say they're going to teach kids how to do traditional dance from a different country, or storytelling, or writing, or even music, you know, or songs. So yes, we have funded those. Yes.
Other questions? We're open for questions. We have one here.
Yeah, what's the difference between individual artist and youth artist? Are the age different or?
Yes, she wanted to know what the difference between individual artist program and the youth arts program. The individual artists are actually professional working artists. They're adults working artists who are creating work. They're musicians, they're writers, they are filmmakers, and the youth art, they're not professional. They're kids, you know, in middle and high school who are being taught how to do that art form. So they're introducing kids to how to work in an art form, whether it's dance or music or filmmaking or how to write a poem. So that's the difference. Mm-hmm.
Other questions?
Irene,
Yes.
is it possible to apply for more than one grant? Let's say the organization and the joint venture at the same time? Or
The only program that you can apply for at the same time or get funding from at the same time is youth arts. Youth arts, if you get funds through organization, or if you get funds as an individual artist, you can also apply for youth arts, because youth arts in our office is a very high priority, and we feel that exposing and engaging kids in the arts is very important. It's a very important learning experience for kids. So, yes.
Okay, we had a question in the back here.
Yes. Is there a distinction between performing arts and visual arts or media? Do you separate it into?
Those are three different, yes. Performing arts includes theater, music, and dance. And then visual is even broader, because it could be painting, it could be sculpture, it could be photography, it could be a lot of, visual is probably the biggest category. And then media is really film, animation, anything digital, new media, what's called new media. So,
Like, do you have an example in new media?
new media, well, you know, it's, I'm gonna try, I don't know if you can help me with that.
My friend had something in her living room. Sometimes museums put stuff in her house, and it was like 3 different frames. So it's visual, but it changes. Like they all change. All the faces changed from like happy to sad, and it's like it's digital, even though it's visual. So you can see it's like on the wall, but it's like.
Yeah, it's different. It's not like a film that tells a story. This is really different in that it could be something that's projected on a wall. It could be projected on a building outside. It could be part of a performance. A dancer is performing and then has images moving around them. So new media it's very different, and it's very it's blended with other art forms in many instances. Artists are using media with music, with literature. They're using it in a lot of different ways, but it's not a movie.
Do you allow for piggybacking on the various mediums?
I'm sorry?
For example, if an individual artist applied and they're multifaceted, multi-talented, could they apply in
multiple
categories? Yes.
If an artist works in more than one art form, they can apply, you know, in multiple art forms, because for individuals, It alternates from year to year. 1 year it's performing arts, so 1 year it's theater, dance, and music. The following year it's literary, visual, and media. So it is possible that an artist is a musician and a filmmaker, so they could technically apply both years if possible. It's possible. You know, it's rare, but it is possible. Yes.
Other questions?
As a nonprofit organization, as a nonprofit organization, is possible to apply for a neighborhood art and technology at the same year, same time?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. And Department of Neighborhoods. You can apply Department of Neighborhoods, Office of Arts and Cultural Affairs, and Office of DoIT. Yes. You can apply to all three.
They're all under the same web grants system. So when you register yourself or your organization in one place, then you can apply for, you can see all the various different funds that are open and available. And the cool thing about web grants is that you can transfer your application, so you don't have to rewrite all the various details. It all transfers across. And so, and then you can refer to past applications you've submitted before and cut and paste and change or amend that. And so whether it's been, sometimes the funds aren't awarded, and so some, you know, applications aren't awarded. So you can take those and repeat them, or you can amend them to after you make changes and such, and they transfer across the different grant programs.
Right.
I'll just add.
We had a question over here. Go ahead, Gary, answer. And then
Well, I just
we'll go
wanted
the
to
brother.
add that, which I didn't say in my presentation, but obviously the most important thing to us in our program is the match. So the match in our program is manifested from you in four ways. One is volunteer labor that's valued at $20 an hour. One is supplies and materials. And for example, if you were going to do a project and you wanted to have, and this organization decided they would let you use this room for free for 3 events, you could count the dollar amount that they would normally charge to use the room as part of your match. The third one is professional services. There are a lot of people who have talents, skills, whatever, that are worth more than $20 an hour. It's something they do as a profession, or they can document that they have that skill. We value people's match on that level up to $75 an hour. And the fourth category is if you get cash from somebody else. Now the caveat is this, we all work for the city, so you can't use these folks' money as your cash match. It has to be from somewhere else, a private donor, another foundation, somebody else. But you can't use public dollars to match other public dollars. That's the one caveat. It's important to know because there are some projects that appear to have the need to have money, but really what they need is the hands and the resources of the people, because we've even had people who are going to construct something where all they wanted us to do is buy the materials and they were going to put it together themselves. It happens a lot.
Okay, we had first, let me go to this gentleman.
Sure,
with-
sure.
in the back.
Mr. Owens, it's good to see you.
Good to see you, my brother.
You're the first one that said that all week.
And it's on TV, so I'm glad you said it.
Really, it is good seeing you again.
Yes, sir.
It's good that the Ethio Community Center has hosted this event. I feel honored to be here amongst the elders here in the community and amongst some of the leaders here in the city. I'm fascinated by the success of the Neighborhoods program over 25 years or so. And you know, it's titled Neighborhoods, yet you indicated that you had program visibility around the world, Australia, Cuba, and other places, specifically with regard to East Africa, Horn of Africa area. Have you had any visibility there or in parts of Africa at all, or would you be open to perhaps a cultural or student exchange type education programs? Could you see yourself doing that kind of thing? And if you could also talk about the nature of the other programs that have been implemented.
Well, the most important thing, I guess, and that's a great question, is that the funds that come from our funds, like these folks' funds, or come from the general fund. The general fund is your tax dollars. So by law, we can't spend the money outside the city. But what happens is we have a number of people that come here all the time from all over the place. A lot of people from Asia, people from Latin America, people from Africa that come to see how the city works. So somehow they end up coming to us for a variety of reasons, through referral or whatever. We have been hosted by sometimes academic processes to take, we took 2 people to South Africa through a grant that Ohio State University got, where they wanted to take our staff to South Africa to teach them or learn from them what the process that they use to involve their community in work, and then we could tell them what we did. I think partly our greatest ambassador, to be honest with you, has been our founding director, Jim Deers. He's the one that goes all over the world, but we also have people who come to us and ask, they're particularly interested in how do you justify using public dollars for citizens to use to do the kind of work that all 3 of us do and the people that we work with. And basically, it's a value system that the city has. The city has decided to use your tax dollars to make sure we have staff and resources that you get to access on a routine basis for a very long time to be able to do what you need to do. Now I have to say this because I want to be open with you. Our program doesn't fund human services. And we don't do that because the city council didn't want us to do that, because they have a whole nother, we have a human services department. So they didn't want to, we wanted people to do things that are not programs. So we do projects. And the way we determine what a project is it has a beginning and an end. We let people do a project up to a year, right? And sometimes there's some extensions. That to us is a project. And at the end, the project has something to show, right? At the end of this project, there will be a new roof. There will be accessible bathrooms. There will be, maybe in the future, they will renew their kitchen or whatever. And we've done that at different places around the Filipino Community Center, different places around the city. Asalye is here. He helped set up a major resource around technology up in the central area. There's been a lot of opportunities, but to more directly answer your question, I think the people come here, they're the ones that spread the word, and then we have somebody who helped found the program, who has taken kind of the mission of what our department has done over the years out to the community, because it really is about empowerment. People, it's really not, the money is just a resource. The real essence of what we do comes from the people. They do the work. We just provide the resource. And so we don't build anything. We're not involved in some of the work that you do day to day in making things happen. This is the community's work. But we do provide the resources for people to do it. That's that's what people need. It's just that we're not an ongoing source. And that's the challenge. The challenge for many of the groups that we work with is how do we keep projects that need to be sustained going. So if you start, I'll give you one quick example. If you start an after-school program or a program that enriches the relationship between the young people and the elders, after the year is over, how do you sustain that program or that project? How do you turn it into a program? That's very challenging. And we try to continue to work with people to figure out what can we do to help sustain the ongoingness of what you do, because we think it's very, very important. All the communities, Latino community, the Asian community, the East African community, all the communities here that represent this wonderful diaspora of people here, Native American community, need some ongoingness. And we find out one of the most important things that now are being applied for by some of you in this room is trying to fill the gulf between the younger generation from your community and the elders. Because a lot of the things that you grew up, that you know about your culture, are not being taught in Seattle Public Schools. So if you don't teach them, they don't get it. That's reality. And so though we find that there's some very exciting things being done to try to fill that gulf and try to even put more pressure on the school district to maybe empower you all to have a more instrumental role in making sure there's a cultural transformation of information and resources that don't get lost in the shuffle. But sometimes it takes resources.
So Irene, you had an interjection.
Yeah, I wanted to mention that one difference with the applications from our office, because we are the Office of Arts and Cultural Affairs, is we do require an artistic work sample. So whether it's an individual artist or a youth program or a neighborhood festival, you do have to submit a work sample that shows what the artist does, whether it's music or painting or, you know, story, poems, or whatever it is. You do have to submit that, and that is something that we, again, we give lots of assistance on how to prepare that work sample so that it can be competitive in the review. So I just wanted to mention that. I hadn't mentioned that.
I got a grant from Department of Neighborhoods when I was director of Northwest Immigrant Rights Project, and so we were working with the Somalis, the Ethiopians, the Eritreans, the Burmese, and other communities. At that point, our project was to teach young people what rights they didn't have until they became a citizen. Because a lot of our youth think that because they have a green card, they can do what the other youth do, which is, you know, get in fights, do a little shoplifting, get a DUI, you know, because they see their other friends and they don't go to jail. But if you're on a green card or in refugee status in the process, that's going to affect whether or not you become a citizen. And the way, especially after 9/11, you saw a lot of people that got deported. So we went around and did a number of workshops. So our partners, they gave us the money, but the way we got there, our partners from the community, is they provided translators, was part of our money. They provided the community centers. They provided refreshments. But it was something that wasn't just an idea of Northwest Immigrant Rights Project. It was an effort that came from all of the community. So there may be a project that you want to do with some other immigrant or refugee group that's beyond your own community, and say we want to teach, whether it's what Gary was talking, an example of youth, or we want to do a cultural night where we present our arts and everything to educate our youth and do a little public history. Like when we were here, Ethiopia, I forget what the event was, but the mayor and I were here where they did cultural dances and they explained them, you know, what was going on. That's part of an education process if you do it properly. I saw a picture out here of women playing soccer. That's a project. But I think one is the power is you have 3 great programs here, because we want to get, you know, like, all I know about computers is how to turn them on and turn them off, right? I have to go to a young person to get them to do it. But I think the more our young people in our community learn how to use that, the better we get. So we may have a project that we say, we're going to do social media, and we're going to take it out to our community. So there may be a bunch of trainings, and there's a number of ways of doing it. You can do it doing art, you can do it doing neighborhoods, you can do it doing just digital divide, how you treat. But I think the important thing, the one project that I really like is the one where you can get cable if you're in one of those access areas in your community group. That's a lot of money for you, and it's high speed. I got low speed where I live, you know, right now. And, you know, if I was in the Comcast area, you know, I would form an organization in my house. But what we got to do is we got to apply for those. One other thing that I wanted to say before we go on with questions. On April 6th, we're having open house at City Hall. So our office is going to have a bunch of tables and people there so that you can apply for public utility assistance. There's a lot of our people who are paying high utility bills. They're low income. They don't have the money. So we're going to have people to translate and do that. There's all the other services of the city.
Derek Hall, who manages the cable modem program that you spoke of, is going to be at that event. And so if your organization is interested in a cable modem, please come to the event and talk to Derek, because he's going to be there to actually be able to help you fill out an application, talk to you about it, see if your organization's a good fit.
Yeah, so there will be, all the city services will be at Town Hall. It's on the 6th, it's, you know, so parking is free downtown. It's a Sunday, I think. Is it?
It's Saturday.
Saturday, okay, well.
Still got to pay.
It's
10 o'clock.
10 o'clock.
And there'll be childcare available also. within, you know, there'll be activity. I shouldn't say childcare. You can't not just drop your
Children
kid off and
activities.
go out. You know, while you're there, there's activities for kids if you are bringing them.
From 10 to...
To two, and it's a good time, and this time we expect more people. I'm gonna take Gary and drop him off for the entertainment. But you're gonna have all the city services there. So it's an important time to go and to tell people to go. Did you have a question, brother?
No.
Just good to see you.
Bring your clients too, people you work with, because you can apply for the utility discount directly. There'll be laptops there so people can actually really just physically just do the applications right there.
Yeah, and I have some forms in the back for people who, if they want, you know, what you have to bring, or you can call our office, go on our website,
Great.
or go on public utilities. Are there any other questions? If not, we're going to break up. Oh, we have one. Go ahead,
Yes,
brother.
what I wanted to ask is the large fund. When is the last due date of the large fund?
Our fund is October 7th.
There is none in
Well,
May?
the small Sparks is available on the one up to $1,000 is available on an ongoing basis. Our criteria says that when you apply, your event should be about a month and a half in advance. Gives us time to set up the contract and all the other things that need to be set up. So about 6 weeks lead time when you apply. And then, like all the rest of the funds, everything is done by reimbursement. And there's a lot of creative and legal ways to make sure people do that don't have cash.
Okay, so one is, I want to thank the Ethiopian Center. Can we give him a good applause? It's great for this center to allow us to come in here and have this meeting. I want to thank all of you for coming. I want to thank Gary, and I want to thank Vicky and Irene for being here with us. And we have a little bit more time, so there's more stuff to eat and drink in the back. And please come and talk to them and ask your other questions directly. Yeah, thank you for reminding them. Please fill those out if you need a pen. We have a pen up here. Yeah, everybody fills it out.
Okay, great.
Me too.
Thank you. Yes, I guess we all fill it out.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great,
Yeah.
thank you.
Great.
Thank you so much.
Guys are so eloquent. I feel like a
Yeah,
dummy.
yeah.
That's yours. Okay.
Ready? I just go. My name is Magdaleno Rose Avila. They call me Leno. I'm the director of the Office of Immigrant and Refugee Affairs. My family came as refugees from Mexico in 1913, and then I came to Washington in 2003. Our office decided that we needed to do outreach to the community about small grant programs that are available from the city. So we came and we talked to the Ethiopian Center. They opened our doors. They helped us advertise it, bring people together. Because one thing we know is that we have a vibrant and good immigrant and refugee community. And what we want to let them know is what the city can do for them, how they can participate in the city. We want to find a way so that we give them a voice and so that the city listens to them and works with them. And we're very excited to be here, and we hope we have a number of other meetings just like this to talk about city programs. Okay, the next big community event that we have is Open House on April 6th in City Hall. We're asking people to come. It's 10 to 2 p.m. There's going to be every service that's available in the city. It will be there for them to meet the directors, meet the staff, ask their questions. But more importantly, every month we're going to have a tea, a community tea where we go out to the different communities. And one of them we're going to have at what is it called, the aquarium. So we're going to invite community leaders to show them how to take advantage of the aquarium and how they can participate. So it's going to be very exciting. So we're looking for other opportunities, other communities that want us to come, talk about safe communities with the police, or any other project. We're ready to come. Just invite us, because the best part of my job is going out and meeting the people in the community.
My name is Michael Neguse. I'm a member of the Refugee and Immigrant, represent the Horn of Africa, refugee and immigrants. And we are here today at the Ethiopian community for a tea time conversation with the Office of Refugee and Immigrant. And there were people from the city, Department of Neighborhood, and technology grant. And this is a good opportunity for our community to know resources from which is available for the community. The tea time conversation, we've been taking it to different community centers, churches, and even to have conversation with the community about the issue which is dear to them. And we founded this office last year. As members of the Refugee and Immigrant Commission, we worked hard with the city council and mayor's office to establish this office. And as soon as this office was open, Leno was chosen to be the director, and he's been going to the community and been talking to community, having conversation, and it's really going well. So we like other community members to invite us to come have conversation and listen the concerns they have about their community. And thank you for the opportunity.